Hi, welcome. So this is part 3 of a 3-part series on cultivating self-love, intuitive tarot readings. So we've done parts 1 and 2, and part 3 today is we're using a spread called the Radical Self-Acceptance Spread. And as you know, I've been using ChatGPT to help burst open my mind about different types of spreads we can do, and just I'm trying to feel into how each one resonates. And I'm really liking these ones for self-love that it came up with, which was way more creative than I could have ever dreamt of, but it's given me a lot of ideas. It's like boosted my own creativity, so I'm really loving using ChatGPT for that. So thank you, ChatGPT. So I'm going to be looking over here to read on my screen as each of the placements come in what they mean, and then I can do my own interpretation of those messages coming through. So we're going to use an overall reading from Seasons of the Witch or Ostara Oracle. It's a new deck, so we'll see what happens. And then we have 3 rows, so 9 cards total. The bottom row is for shadow and limiting beliefs, and I'm using the Wild Unknown Tarot. And then the middle row is healing and reframing. And so this is my classic deck, the Rider-Waite deck. And this is integration and embodiment. And I'm using the Light Seers Tarot. So we kind of move from shadowy to like reframing up to integration and embodiment. So it's kind of like moving into the higher vibrations. So I picked decks that sort of resonated with me in those ways. And then because I imagine this will go long, because it's a 9-card spread, we may not do a lot of clarification in this reading, but there will be a link to an extended reading where we're going to go deep, 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 as deep as we need to, because this is the 3rd one. So get comfy, and here we go. So I've already prayed, set my little prayer up to just see if I can be as pure of a channel, as clear of a channel as possible for these messages to come through, and see what Spirit has for us for self-love cultivation, part 3. Thank you, Spirit. What's an overall energy for this reading? There we go. Community garden. Number 7. To be in community is to be part of something greater than you could have ever imagined. Okay. I love it. Okay, that was number 7. I'm excited to read this. I just have to say, as each reading's building on the other and just expanding, of course this one's like, now we're going to focus, after we're cultivating this love, out into the community, and that's what it's all about. Like, we keep talking about filling your own cup first so that you can spill out and nourish others, and a community garden is for that purpose, right? We all come together and grow things so we can feed the community. Oh, it's like such a good metaphor. Okay, keywords: teamwork, shared resources, building networks. To be in community is to be a part of something greater than you could have ever imagined. There's something so powerful about working towards a shared purpose. One person is incredible on their own, but combine 2 marvelous people and amazing results unfold. Imagine combining the shared talents of dozens of like minds, all contributing their individual knowledge, experience, and enthusiasm. Your collaborative efforts could move mountains while also fostering a sense of mutual respect and shared growth. The importance of building a supportive network as it relates to your question is underscored by this card. While you can continue this journey alone, you will find your load lightened significantly by communicating openly about shared goals and allocating resources such as time, energy, and attention equitably among partners or a group of diversely talented people. This will be heightened if you have been struggling to make significant progress. Bringing in additional support could reinvigorate your plans. You may also consider working with an advisor, therapist, teacher, or other qualified professional to bring a renewed sense of perspective to your situation. Surround yourself with like-minded individuals who share your values and aspirations. With time and commitment, you will naturally inspire each other to achieve more than you might have done on your own. Yeah, this is like, where's all this self-love taking us? Outward. Like, it's And I feel like those are the messages that have been coming, is we have been contracted into ourselves. And I feel like even as a collective, it's like, man, we're being called to just nourish each other. But first we have to start with ourselves. You can't pour from an empty cup. I'm sorry to keep using that old saying. So this first row is about shadow and limiting beliefs. So thank you, Spirit, for these clear messages. The World. Whoops. 5 of Wands. 4 of Swords. So what's interesting is this is the last card of the major arcana, is the World. So it's interesting because it says, what negative belief do I hold about myself? This is that the negative belief, it so goes with this going out into the community. The world is like the culmination of everything. It's like you're telling yourself you can't have it all. You can't go out into the world to share your love. Something's keeping you contracted. This is saying, like, wait a minute. This is ultimately what you've always wanted. This is what you do have the potential and capacity for, but something is blocking it. So this is, what negative belief do I hold about myself? That I don't deserve the world. In the last reading, we had a card right here that was like, we didn't believe the world could be our oyster. Gosh, you guys, these are building on. I knew it. There'd be a building. Okay, the next one is, where did this belief originate? We have the 5 of Wands. The 5 of Wands is like this rivalry competition card, like friendly rivalry, but to me it's more about like when we're kept in our ego state, where it's like self-limiting beliefs and just all up in the mind about stories we tell ourselves. And so where did this belief originate? There's something about that we're going to clarify. I am going to do a little bit of clarification in this reading. Not too much, though, or else we'll never get done. And then, how is it affecting my relationship and self-worth? So this 4 of Swords is about, right now, this is a feeling of feeling unprotected, of feeling maybe meek, or the not fortified came in again. What's with that fortified word this week? There's something about just not feeling resilient. So there's a self-worth that's saying, like, I'm just a little lamb. But really this card is about going, like, pausing, going quiet, going inward to seek your divine inspiration, to seek communion with your higher self, your inner wisdom, and knowing that this is reaching beyond the ego. So how is it if, like, what negative belief? I don't believe that I can have it all, that I can share my love with the world, share my gifts, whatever that is. And it's this, where did the belief originate? Well, this doesn't exactly tell me where. It just tells me how it's been playing through your life, perhaps, as like these negative self-stories based in ego state, which is not in the heart. It's in the mind. It's in the head. And so I'm gonna clarify this. And then is it affecting my relationships and self-worth? It's keeping me feeling very small and unprotected. It's like, because when we're on the defense, because these 5 of Wands is like, look at me, look at mine. But it's like out of this false sense of like, this false confidence, everything is false in the 5 of Wands. It's just ego. And so then it's like, and it keeps us small. It keeps us small and feeling weak when we're not in our heart space. And this is about, the real message here is about, okay, it's time to really seek guidance from your divine wisdom. It's time to go inward. And so what I'd like to do is draw just one more card to pair up with these to see if we can get a deeper clarification here before we move on. So we have the Father of Swords. This is the King of Swords with the world. And the King of Swords is, this is calling us into clarity. So what we're telling ourselves is like, I'm not confident, I'm not clear. Like I don't have the ability to act in my own self-interest. There's something about this lack of confidence there's been some, like whenever you have felt clear about something, it's been less from the heart space and more up here. So you move forward in action of that as if you were clear, and it's led to some, oops, maybe that wasn't in my best interest. And so it has you not trusting your own intuition and doubting yourself that you have that capacity and potential to act in a way that's in alignment with your purpose. This is like Father of Swords is like, I have the wisdom, I know my purpose, but it's all up here, the swords. And this wand is, this Five of Wands is saying, no. Let's clarify the Five of Wands. And then we have the Ten of Cups. Oh, so where did this belief originate? The Ten of Cups, so you can see how these are like opposing energies clarifying each other. So the Five of Wands being that ego state, those negative self-stories, false stories. The Ten of Cups is like ultimate, like where you strive to be. This Ten of Cups is so about getting to that community state, pouring your love out into the world. And this is saying you didn't believe, again, this is like you didn't believe that you could do that. But you felt this way on the inside. There's definitely this feeling of you are spilling forth a rainbow of love, but these stories are keeping you from doing that. Just like the Father of Swords, this false sense of clarity and right action in the world is keeping you from believing that you can have it all. Have it all in the sense of like, be in your full expression of love. So let's clarify the Four of Swords. Thank you. Yeah, Three of Swords. Yeah, this is all about that constricted heart space. And this is leaving you feeling weak. So that's just what we said. And that's how is it affecting my relationships and self-worth? Well, this is definitely a relationship card in the sense that it's only brought pain, sorrow, hurt. Just, like hurting them, you're being hurt, whatever that is for you. And so this is saying there's no more of that. This lamb has this, like once you seek your divine wisdom, there's a strength that's going to grow. So we're going to set this aside for now. There. And then the next row is about healing and reframing. So we're going to leave this here. Way down here. We're going to make room. Oopsie. And so we have 3 cards. And the first one is, what is the truth about my worth? The second one is, what strength do I have that I've been overlooking? And the next one is, what is one way I can show myself love every day? Thank you, Spirit. What is the truth about my worth? Oh my gosh. Yeah. The Ten of Swords says, like, I feel like I have to push really hard. I have to work really hard. And that is what I feel like that's the inner truth I've had. It's like, no, I got to work so hard, and I'm not seeing clearly what's right in front of me. Like, I might have a lot of love right there, And I'm like, nope, I've got to work hard. There's no time for self-love. I've got to work hard. Ew. And then what strength do I have that I've been overlooking? So the Five of Cups is, they call it like grief, sadness, kind of only focused on the lack, but you could turn around and see that there's abundance right there, and that there's this intuition you can follow to go over the bridge to greener pastures. And so this is, what strength do I have that I've been overlooking, is that you do have the ability to lift your head up and see the way forward. And cups are emotional abundance, so you are going to be able to move on if we stop telling ourselves these old stories, and if we stop just working so hard at it. And there's also this like sense with the Ten of Wands that it's just like the drudgery, right? The pushing, like you don't see that you are almost there. Like you could be almost there if you look up. Both of these are like heads down. If only I looked up. There was also the Five of Wands is like not seeing, and the Father of Swords is, in this case, is false seeing. So there's like there's this theme here. There's this theme. And then the third, ooh, how is it affecting my relationships and self? Whoops, sorry, that's the wrong one. What is one way I can show myself love every day? And then we get the Tower, which is really interesting because there's this idea of shaking things up with the Tower. Like whatever's been built it's going to be struck by a lightning bolt, because what you've built through pushing is going to come crumbling down. And the way you show yourself love every day is to bring a fresh perspective. And there's this newness when everything's leveled to the ground. There's this potential for a new way to see things. So what is one way I can show myself love every day is not keep feeding into the old stories, not keep building that old tower. It needs to come down. It needs to come down. And so let's clarify, like we did, just one extra card per card here in this row. So please help clarify the Ten of Wands. Thank you. And we have the Three of Wands. We got this in the last reading, and this reminds me of this. So it's like the Three of Wands says, now that this, because I had the Three of Wands in mind when I pulled this card, it's like when you take everything back down, it's open landscape. It's wide open territory there, and you're looking out like, how am I going to be in the world? And we got this in the last reading too. But if we read it with the Ten of Wands, what is the truth about my worth? Is that you're fully looking up and looking out at the world. You're looking out at the world saying, here's my passion, here's my gifts, here's my love. What am I going to build with it? Where am I going to focus that effort of the heart? So that is, what is the truth about my worth? When you think about worth, there's something here about taking things back down. We're moving from a 10 to a 3. We're moving from a 3 to a 2. We're moving from the tower, it's falling to the ground. There's this like, we've moved from a 4 to a 3. There's this taking things back down to the root. And that reminds me of the community garden, like having strong roots. So there's been this, whatever you've built and pushed for, and this ego state, it's like not on a firm foundation. So maybe in the extended, we'll have to go back to like, what was this foundation that was so, that you've built a life on top of a false foundation, which are really just those false stories. There was some just not a good foundation. I don't know how else to say it. And a lot of us didn't have a good foundation, a solid one with like family stories or what, however far back this goes for you, if this resonates. But the positive messages here is saying, yeah, we're going to take things back down so that you can build from a firm foundation. Thank you, Spirit. What's the Five of Cups telling us? Ooh, we have the Six of Swords with the Five of Cups. I'm really liking this because that's the healing journey. This is the hope that we're moving on. This is like looking out at the fresh land. This is moving on to calmer waters. I love this. And this is like lessons learned. And so this is, what strength do I have that I've been overlooking? You do have, again, it's with this ability to move on with love. And this person is taking what I believe to be people over who are dear to them. So this is a healing journey in the service of others too. So everything is, this whole reading seems to so far be about tearing down those false stories, taking things back to the roots, to the ground, so that you can plant more healthy roots and build a strong foundation. Look at all these metaphors. Just really, it's kind of like a starting over energy and moving on into like new territory through this healing journey. This is awesome. The part that might feel less awesome is when you get the Tower, there's an abrupt shaking up and coming down, a destruction, but it's all in the service of transformation. So if you can see it through that lens, it's not going to be as scary or as painful, hopefully. But if we deny, distrust, disown, resist, then it gets really hard. It gets hard because what you resist persists. Okay, let's clarify that. Whoops. I don't know if that one was supposed to come out. I better take it because it's both major arcana, so that seems like pretty clear. We got the Sun in both parts 1 and 2 as well, so that makes me think this was really intentional. And the Sun, what is one way I can show myself love every day is, look at this. There's a garden in the background. The Sun again, let me repeat it like a broken record between parts 1, 2, and 3. The Sun is optimism. It is hope. It is also some healing, and it is growth, expansion, and stepping into the fullest expression of yourself, of your love, both inward and outward, because the Sun nourishes the community garden, right? We need the Sun. And so when we take everything back down, there's fertile ground there. There's fresh ground for the Sun to bake in, and you're going to have some really awesome roots planted, little sprouts coming up. So yeah, I do believe that was intended. So this top row is integration and embodiment. So thank you, Spirit, for these messages for integration and embodiment. We have the Six of Pentacles, the Eight of Cups, which is funny. Huh. Because I think we got the Eight of Cups, like parts 1 and 2 as well, which is funny. And then the Four of Pentacles. So the first card here is, how can I embrace all parts of myself, light and shadow? And the Six of Pentacles is the reciprocity. There's a give and take, and there's this having gratitude will also feed into the abundance that you can share with others. And there's not so much an equality give and take. There's a what feels good to you aspect. So when you think of like how much you're going to fill your cup in order to, whatever your balance is of how much to do for yourself, like how much self-care are you going to do that leaves you feeling the vitality so you can then spill that out for others. And so it doesn't have to be equal, but what is it for you? So there's this, how can I embrace all parts of myself, light and shadow? There is this balance aspect. I think even in one of the decks, like this deck for this card, there are scales there. So there's this something about balancing the light and shadow aspects, because shadow isn't all bad. Sometimes we need the shadow to really go inward, like this Four of Swords. There's like this going inward to really like be with yourself in solitude. To really understand, how can you embrace all parts of yourself? There is something about finding your own equilibrium between self-care, how much you need to fill up. So really being honest with how much do you need for yourself, because this is all about push, push, push. Like really give yourself some grace and maybe take a week, even just a day, where you just focus on yourself. Man, my throat. So there's something there about finding your own balance. And then the Eight of Cups in between self-care, and that's like, how can I embrace all parts of myself, light and shadow? There's this balance aspect where you have to find, it's like there's, I just wish I could pinpoint it so perfectly for you. We'll have to clarify. There are words that are not yet coming to me for the feelings I'm having. Okay, so Eight of Cups. What does self-love feel like in my body and energy? And self-love, so this is the feeling in my body and energy is with the Eight of Cups. You don't want to settle for less anymore. There's a moving on and not settling aspect to the Eight of Cups. So I'm not going to settle anymore for not caring for myself. I'm not going to settle anymore for pushing, for telling myself negative stories, for only focusing on the lack in my life versus the love and abundance and having gratitude. So the Eight of Cups is a moving on energy. What does self-love feel like in my body and energy? Self-love means I'm not settling anymore. There's this power and strength that comes with you. Like, I don't have to treat myself like that anymore. If I don't like it when other people treat me that way, then why am I going to treat myself that way? So there's this, it seems like you're fully able to like stand up for yourself when others are coming at you. But when you are alone, in the past anyway, up to this point, in talking to yourself, there's a slight negativity there. And it's saying, nope, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not settling for that self, and I'm moving on. So that's what it feels like in your body. It's like this strength that's building, this self-respect and trust. The word trust has come up here. Like you're trusting that you can do this. You're trusting that if you put down those old stories, that something actually can bloom in this garden here. So the Four of Pentacles is a loving message from the universe, my higher self. So the Four of Pentacles is stability, and where it is a sense of self-worth. So like where the message here is that you're gonna find your self-worth through this journey. And see how she's clutching her belongings to herself, and she's like this is like what I treasure, and this is where I find my strength and stability, are these things I'm building in my life. And so let's this is what's coming. You're gonna get that, and then you're gonna move out into be able to start sharing this with others. So let's clarify the Six of Pentacles, please. We have the Two of Pentacles. So this is, how can I embrace all parts of myself, light and shadow, which is funny because we talked about that balance, and here Two of Pentacles is that's the balance card in tarot. And so this is saying with Two of Pentacles, she's like she's doing the infinity, twirling two things, fully balanced, and she's going inward. She's like in an inner state right here, saying like, I have found my balance. And so there's still this idea that you're balancing all those wonderful things about yourself and all the things that you used to tell yourself are bad. But the message here is to look at the things you said might have been negative about yourself and try to tease out the light side of that shadow. So if the shadow was like, let's come up with an example to be clear. I think this is where I couldn't find the words earlier. So let's say like I always had this shadow element of like, I've got to work harder. I've got to push. I've got to keep my head down. Like my self-worth is derived from hard work. And then it's like, well, if self-worth is derived from working hard, that means like you don't believe that you have inherent self-worth, right? So that's the shadow side of that. Work hard, push for my self-worth. Like I have to show others through my hard work that I'm worthy. When no, everybody's worthy. Everybody's born worthy. We're always worthy. And so the light side of this might be like, you're going to work hard it's like you have this element of perseverance and going the long haul. You're in it for the long run. You're in it for the long game. You have the strategy to go all the way. And so that means in your relationships and for yourself in your own healing journey, it's like you do not tire easily. There's definitely this, like, I'm carrying the burdens of the world. Well, you used to do that because you thought it made you feel worthy and that others could see how worthy you were. That's the shadow side. And the light side would be like, you can persevere through anything and you're going to stand up for others and you're going to see things through to the end. So that's one example, which I think it really applies because I'm getting the chills. But that's one example of how you can start to look where it says, how can I embrace all parts of myself, light and shadow, is look at all those negative stories you've told yourself and tease out, like flip the script and say, well, what is the good part of that? I'm going to leave behind the shadow part, but what are those good things I can carry forward? And that's this healing journey, by the way. When we have these swords here in the boat with us, it's like, these are the lessons learned we're taking forward with us on this healing journey from the rocky waters to the calmer waters. So that's what Spirit is saying, do. Like, flip the script and tease out what the light aspects of those negative self-stories you've always told yourself. It can be very enlightening, and you can be like, man, I do have trust in myself. That's always been there all along. Those elements, those light elements of my shadow. I'm surprised we didn't pull the moon again. So please help clarify the Eight of Cups. Thank you. We have the Nine of Swords. So this is, what does self-love feel like in my body and energy? This is, you're no longer settling for all of that. The Nine of Swords is anxiety and worry of your own making. This is a lot of sword energy, which is a lot of just angst of the mind. And so when you're moving on from that, your mind is just going to be like bliss, like in pure like peace. So that's what that feels like in your mind and body and energy, is a settledness is going to kind of descend when you're like, I'm not doing this to myself anymore. Those stories are gone. This is all about those stories of the ego. it just hurts yourself. It's not anything anybody else believes about you. It's just your own stories. We all have them. We all have them. So this is you moving on, letting those go, finding those light elements within all of your shadow stories, and then learning to trust yourself of all of those positive things you're going to find. So the Four of Pentacles, a loving message from the universe and my higher self. Please help clarify this. Thank you. The Six of Cups. This is beautiful because the Six of Cups is healing past wounds. You're going to go back to, and this came up in the last one. We got it was the Six of Cups card too in the last reading. So this is building on that, where it's a confirmation that you're healing old wounds that's going to ripple forward in time to your current self. Because once you go back and heal inner child wounds, man, that has it like it's a magical effect where it's like you are going back, yet somehow it heals it in the present simultaneously. So this is confirmation that you're building that stability of self, that inner strength by healing old wounds. So that's what we have. At this point, I think we're going to call this reading pretty done, and then we'll go into the extended, because there's a lot to work with here that I can't wait to go a little deeper. What I'm curious about, I always like to end, I think I'm now liking to end this way, like for going into the extended. What I'm curious about is like a little bit more about where these negative self-beliefs came from, because I always like to see if we can get some insight, because that can always inform the current healing journey we're on, and maybe where to keep looking present day and how it's showing up in our bodies, etc. So I am curious a little bit about the past and where it originated, and then there's like this, I kind of want to clarify a little bit about your current strengths, because you're going to be doing some self-reflection on that, on what are your current strengths that's going to like lead you out. You're going to like fill up to lead out into the world. So those are some things I'm curious about as we go into the extended. So thanks for watching this, and hopefully you've watched parts 1 and 2 already, so you can kind of take these as a whole package of self-love cultivation. So thanks for coming on this journey with me, and let me know if any of these messages resonated with you and how you might be applying them. And sometimes I feel like even the fact that I'm doing these, I don't think the depth of this is really going to hit me like right away. There's something about when you start to practice self-love, you may not experience it, the effects of that, until later, and then you're like, oh my God, I've come so far. And that started like months ago, years ago, whatever it is. So I feel like this has a seed planting effect where we're not going to get to the harvest point for a while, but it's important to do the daily work. Didn't we get that? Like in the first 2 readings, I think we got the 8 of Pentacles twice. I'm surprised we didn't get it again, but there is that daily work. And this is taking that concept and saying, go deep with that daily work and look at the light and the shadow elements, because this is about, when all of this balance stuff comes up about light and shadow, it's about integrating the light and shadow aspects of ourselves, because we're not all one or the other, and we can't keep compartmentalized, right? We've got to start integrating them and really finding the value in everything, the value, and then letting go of the toxic traits, for lack of a better word, but integrating the two to become whole. There's this thing about integration coming through. So we're going to have to go into the extended and get deeper. So thanks for being here. And yeah,